The old man was sentenced to 30 years in prison for robbing a bank. But unexpectedly, the very next day, his son filed an appeal. He turned around and sued the bank in court. He even demanded the bank pay $1 million in emotional damages to his father. Everyone thought such an unreasonable request would be rejected by the judge. Unexpectedly, the judge actually accepted his claim, and his actions gained widespread support from internet users. It turned out the father was trying to treat his comatose son's illness. When he went to the bank to withdraw money, he was turned down by the staff. They insisted the account holder had to show up in person. Helplessly, the old man took out his son's medical records. He explained that his son was in a coma and couldn't come in person, but the bank staff didn't care. Either the account holder came to get the money, or the old man had to prove that his son was really his son. Even after the old man provided the household registry and his son's ID, the staff still wouldn't accept it. They still demanded the account holder show up in person. Seeing the old man get emotional for not being able to withdraw the money, the staff mocked him on the spot. "This is a bank," they said. "Withdrawing money isn't easy. If you really can't do it, just rob the place." But just as the woman finished speaking, a gang of robbers stormed into the bank. They instantly cleaned out the bank. The robbers were sympathetic toward the old man. They handed him $20,000 and told him to hurry and save his son's life. The old man wanted to refuse, but just then he got a call from the hospital. He learned that his son's condition had suddenly worsened. Hearing that, he didn't dare delay and rushed to the hospital with the money. But to his shock, the next day, the bank sued him for robbery. He was even sentenced to 30 years in prison. Facing an interview with reporters, the old man helplessly said, "How am I supposed to prove that my son is really my son? If it weren't for the staff blocking me, I would have withdrawn the money and saved my son long ago. I wouldn't have run into those robbers either." Thinking about his son still lying unconscious in the hospital, the old man cried out in agony. Meanwhile, the comatose boy at the hospital seemed to hear his father's cries. He suddenly woke up from the hospital bed. His sister was overwhelmed with excitement. She told him what happened while he was unconscious, about everything their father had gone through. When he realized his father was falsely accused just to save him, the boy, a freshman majoring in law, decided to appeal the case for his father. So he began studying the law day and night. Even though the court had upheld the original ruling, and they had almost no chance of success, the boy refused to give up. Even his sister tried to persuade him to back off, saying their father was already in prison, and she feared he'd get into legal trouble too. But the boy didn't listen to her. After 3 days and nights of hard study, he finally mastered the legal knowledge, and he found the specific laws that could exonerate his father. With the final appeal deadline fast approaching, he and his sister gathered evidence of the bank's illegal practices and called the victims one by one to attend the final court session for their father's case. Once everything was ready, the siblings sued the bank in court. The bank president soon received a court summons. Furious, he rushed to the legal department and ordered the lawyer to handle it. Ironically, the lawyer turned out to be the boy's sister's husband. Unexpectedly, he was willing to do anything for money, even to push for a heavier sentence on the boy's father. This case not only drew widespread attention from netizens, but was also followed through a global live broadcast. Soon, the day of the final trial arrived. As the boy arrived at the courthouse entrance, he was stopped by reporters for an interview. When they heard the boy was 100% confident in winning, everyone was stunned. But he was mocked by the opposing side. They bluntly said he was just a college student, with no practical experience and no formal training in legal systems. They claimed he was just trying to attract attention. Seeing that the opposition had money, power, and influence, the sister was afraid something bad might happen to the boy. She urged him to give up, but the boy didn't take her advice. Court was about to begin soon. The sister waited a long time, but the boy didn't show up. Unbeknownst to her, the boy had suffered a relapse of his illness and fainted in the restroom. With the judge's arrival, the trial officially began. But the boy, serving as the defense attorney, still hadn't arrived. If he didn't show up within the required time, the appeal would be considered forfeited. As the deadline approached, the boy was still nowhere to be seen. Viewers in front of their screens all assumed the boy had lost. Some even mocked the college dropout, saying he had no sense of responsibility. Even the bank president believed they had won. He accused the boy of deliberately wasting time and having no real ability at all. Just as the judge was about to announce the final verdict, the boy arrived at the courtroom just in time. The two sides quickly began their arguments. The boy stated that he had sufficient evidence to prove that his father was innocent, but the opposing lawyer didn't believe him. He threatened to charge the boy with perjury if he couldn't produce proof. The sister, fearing she might lose her brother too, tried to persuade him to give up again. Even the father believed his son wouldn't succeed. His only wish was for his son to stay alive. But before the boy could respond, the judge asked if he had any new evidence. The boy then submitted the new evidence he had prepared. He boldly declared that his evidence could overturn the entire case. Unexpectedly, his words were once again met with ridicule from the opposing side, but the boy didn't care. He told the judge that the opposing side was sitting in the wrong seats. They should be the ones sitting at the defendant's table. Everyone present was stunned by what they heard. Even the bank president couldn't stay calm. He stood up and questioned the boy. On what grounds? Unexpectedly, the boy pulled out a court summons. He publicly announced that he was suing the bank. He also requested the judge to merge the two cases for a joint trial. Given the strong connection between the two cases, the judge agreed to his request. He ordered both parties to switch seats. After reopening the court session, the boy presented his new appeal to the judge. He asked the judge to overturn the previous verdict and to order the other party to compensate his father for emotional damages. But the other side refused. So the judge asked the boy if he had any corresponding evidence. To everyone's shock, the boy's answer stunned the entire courtroom.